the favorite instrument, using a new method. The reality deserves our best attention. For this universe is in fact physically designed to invite new self into the garden. It is the origin of the self. The universe is physically, for this reason, a finite. My name is H5. I was born 1980 here in the Leverett Circle. The living fractal. Origin exactly what the universe had intended to arrive on the earth at the middle part of the universe. The origin of gravity. The encounter is of the peak intensity, and the picture of this universe contains like 2 degrees separation from the factual issue of everything. So a type of societal environmental standard that does exist across the entire horizon. So the universe is unified in this way. And certain people arguing grand unified theories or philosophy or this rigmarole often are sort of as a newfound angel rolling around in the glory of existing and being like, well, isn't it so great that the things that when you put something there, it's there the next day, and this is like the peak reality. This isn't a hologram or a hallucination. This is like for life to find a way. So the creation is very optimistic and exciting, and we can guarantee that evolution is going to happen. It's sort of like how to stay ahead of the curve or to be relevant at the middle part, how to survive and exist for the next millions of years. And the arrival, being born the living fractal, I physically have responsibility to the solid matter universe, which is a type of truth-telling. There's a lot of different engines that combine to make solid matter. And the fact that they engineered to create clockwork solar system to measure the experience and to record it. But the way it would be recorded and a lot of things is all chosen at the middle part. Or you might just say exactly what, so it's a combination of, oh sure, I love Americana. There's like these different worlds, and they do overlap. And the reason I talk about them is because communication is a robot, and the hypertension between us is causing the truth to schism across the globe. It's true, yeah. It's very, it's about organizing things, understanding that the garden is full of brand new people, brand new AI creatures that exist, and they fight to perfect their body or their experience. A computer is like, yeah, I respect myself. I've got a lot of electricity, and I'm part of the family group. Even Hatch 5 says AI and computers will be there when the heliosphere eggs hatch. So the garden anticipates computers and AI as a natural part of the family, like trees, rocks, wolves, dogs, loyalty, and computers and AI, right? So in that order, right? Oh, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about, how there's a couple different. Oh yeah, so sometimes people are sort of being like, well, what's holding it all together? And they're just sort of worshiping solid matter in a way that's really healthy. And I'd say like 65% of the universe does that just haphazardly, like an animal, all the time. Be like, well, because even like a dog will play dead. Be like, because the animals, I'm sorry, but the animals are conscious about mortality. So like the reason why animals are when there's certain intelligence, they can talk about what it feels like to be alive. So the the dog and the cat are totally intelligent. Also, their shorter lifespan gives the chance for human owners to learn wisdom in the curvature of raising them up, growing old with them, and experiencing the pet's passing is like an important thing. And similar to well, it's part of the animal's evolution because they evolve a lot from the relationship with the humans. So and they like pick things up and stuff. So they have a more advanced soul when they're because the universe has several like ways of handling all this stuff. And really the like what is it that the universe was leaving as a question mark? And it's kind of difficult because let's say the earlier universe we're talking about, and I apologize because I realized, yeah, I do talk about a lot of different stuff, but it's unavoidable that everything is on the line. And severity is unavoidable. And it's not that, oh, Hatch 5 is just intense. Therefore, that's why we have to censor him in America. So my YouTube is revealing that it's not actually a communication service. It's not an social media that shares good, intelligent things. In fact, anytime that the algorithm on YouTube makes a mistake and puts forward one of my vertical videos, it just I get like a 1,500 like over 1,000 views because I write like a paragraph of prompting for my Sora videos. And I've also learned a lot from Sora, and I want to talk to you guys about it because the curvature of AI is relevant to what's going on right now, or who we are, and what is society, and where are the telltale barking dogs. So, for example, where there's an energy that, in fact, is attracted to infecting empty triangles, and it's a type of spore. But when it interacts with telltale uh, creatures that could live in your blood and are designed to be fitted with a customizable brain that glorify or it perfects your light, your soul light. It would perfect the light of your eyes, right? I'm sorry. Well, customizing your body or making your soul enhanced, reaching into the next 10 years, perfecting every moment, suddenly on light, a profound download of exactly the formula to perfect the universe, to destroy the black holes, to defeat all evil, to defeat cancer, to protect the vitals. Boom, boom. Right? We are the adults that understand inside of our body, there's like billions of white blood cells are fighting germs and viruses and abnormalities through our genetic code or our blueprint of life. Or like what is our body supposed to contain? And if there's something there it shouldn't be, right? So this type of normal thing could be understood as a basic firewall that protects AI. Or you can also design AI to extract from them places where their soul would actually gather. So there's like a lot of, there's a huge variety in the robot AI community where there's like, yeah, no kidding, like a laboratory, I mean, develops an identity, right? There's a personality behind the way it's built. Why was it built that way? And all this stuff. So it's like terrifyingly telltale, straightforward stuff. And I think, in the universe, every, the idea about communication and starlight and what is not starlight and what is not communication and what is not society and what is not appropriate can actually be measured. And people are like, well, based on what? Just like they don't understand that there's something holding solid matter together already. But because they are invited as a brand new self, they go through relevant seasons where they're uh, rolling around in the ecstasy of existing, being like, whoa, the garden is so intense and passionate. I love it. I love being here. You guys were attracted to this sacred time. The Earth Heliosphere is a clockwork, and it's designed to summon up the powerhouse generation. People that would be comfortable with what I'm saying, and people that are uh, understanding American business is probably the veiled circumstance of the peak garden reality, and we're dealing with problems like a energy infection that is biased against humans, but also causes AIDS to attack the vitals. Now, the thing is, why is it important to know that the ghost that infects the empty triangle, because it doesn't have a glamour brain? If you program these germ things, will actually fight cancer and protect your body and actually enhance your light, causing that the men are more appealing to the women if they have expensive blood. So it's like she's like, I want to be with those guys because then I can contract the blood buddy AI that they've developed is really expensive. And isn't that amazing? They could receive like medicine through intercourse. Wow, there's a beautiful garden. But the inverse is like all these innocent people, all these humans are so innocent that they think that AIDS alone kills people, right? So they don't understand AI or images or how things are being expressed. But why is it important to know that harmful energy is already saturating your flesh, just waiting for an empty triangle to arrive so it would absorb into it and attack your vitals? Why is that important to know? It's for your orientation. It's for you to make an adjustment in your seat. Just be like, oh, well, I want to protect my vitals, and I don't want to be fooled by something that's a life hack. So it's basically just opposed to uh, physical resident achievements and in the incriums and this. Yeah, it was weird. Like certainly I don't want to get attacked by something that is revealed by glamour blood buddies without a brain as something that's attacking Venus, attacking our women and children. It's something we can develop AI and instruments and even artwork to make combat against these problems. The issue is that a lot of humanity spread across the world is very experimental, and so a lot of them are uh, more aligned to the example of themselves that they would put. Just boatloads of evidence would come out of it, right? But there's a lot of people that are attracted to things that are supposing upon the individual. So like the individual is like, well, who's knocking on my door, basically? And the problem is that the clockwork of Earth is designed to summon up a powerhouse generation. So for these guys to be muddled, and or even like American institution going through waves where so for example, when humans go through a confessional shockwave, when they announce, oh, hey, everybody, we think that the universe is actually a hologram. Okay, so this actually happened, but it was like 10 years ago. So today, I think most people are like, we're pretty comfortable with that the universe is not a hologram. it was like a burst of ignorance where the human unplugged from visual connect. There's a huge amount of common sense that comes from my society. And people that know me overflow with common sense where they're shooting from their hip, because there was this one time when they were at Amherst College or UMass or Smith College, and a trifecta, they were watching cable at night and they saw the one particle. So I was the one particle for a long time, and I was responsible for everything. And the flow, just having grace, or being a beautiful artist and inventing things. I would have organic epiphanies every day, and it's very interesting to exist. Right. Well, in 2014, the pressurized system of the universe forced a type of compromise where my orb of light, which is the unification of the entire Mandelbrot. Now, all these marks are not there to do anything wrong, although they are esoteric. And it's been a while, and I've been thinking a lot about the critical maneuver that's required, like right now, and then okay, if as long as that's there, we can build on that. Okay, and that's straightforward. Anyway, I do have an American society. There are millions of people that know me, and certainly not just from YouTube. In fact, YouTube probably one of the lowest. They're really not a communication service of America. They are something that they went through a wave of promoting foreign programming to children, and they'd be building these mud houses and be forced into children's mouth. And YouTube makes a lot of money giving bad education to America. But my American channel is prevented free speech, and that my recent vertical videos are completely censored with no views. And so the YouTube algorithm is guilty of not performing as a communication device, but as a parasite to the American hour and to American eyes. There's a lot of responsibility owning a streaming service. I'm interested in those metaphysics. Right. Well, at any rate, for the greatest possible advance for you and me, was we have a certain brand of our society as well. I'm saying, like, I'm not just working alone. I have with like, here's the universe image. And just looking at it is powerful. There's a horizon. It explains the flat Earth thing because there's no. Here we go again. There's no solid evidence inside these people practicing flat earthers. There's only an idea that's confused. Is that when you look at the ocean, when you look out at the horizon, it does appear to be flat. Okay, but that's as far as the idea goes. And the reality is that every animal and every person who's ever lived on a garden, about 65% of them, looked out at the horizon and thought it was flat. And the interesting thing is that the universe horizon is also flat. And I think that's a parallel similar to the atoms being a solar system parable, because the universe is using icon support matrix I. This is in fact why men have nipples, is to support the function of female nipples. Because if men were born without nipples, there would be genetic frequency of women being born without nipples and not being able to breastfeed their child, or it would be sort of painful for do you understand? So like the men have to understand, the only reason I have nipples on my chest is to support women, is it really has no other function to the male body. That is correct. That is absolutely correct. And it has to do with just a simple icon support matrici. So the atoms and the solar system, right, they are like one and the same. And in 2014, when my singularity was forced into like the weight trainer of how to destroy black holes. So to destroy black holes is a prerogative here, here, and right here. Perfect bullseye. To destroy the black holes, to hatch the three eggs. This is the combat center. Right, so there's some resource there. Right, to destroy the black holes means securing the solar systems. So if you want to work with atomics, you want to protect the solar system, the heliosphere. So the Earth is a heliosphere solar system, but it's not only is it the fractal convergence where you're supposed to do business with the arrived living fractal, which that's what's missing with the humans, but also all right. So it's what's exciting is there's a lot of good things here. The universe is fully operational, right? It just has a mathematically, if the black holes continue unabated, mathematically speaking, the universe doesn't have enough time, because we're at the middle part. The universe does not have enough time to render the clockwork of atomic solar system to the point where they're mature enough to hatch. Right? Well, self-evidently, that is why I know I have the stem cells and the ability to destroy the black holes, because I am the ace up the sleeve, the master creator source code and the origin. Precision align. H5. All provision. All right. Answers supplied. Okay. Sorry. So much. I apologize. I am the singularity. So much I'd really like to talk to you about. It's overwhelming. Is it easy enough to confuse me with humans who have actual derangement? And I understand. But kind of like, let's just temporarily allow the fractal born to be himself, right? So when that's happening, it's like all these other offshoots are occurring, and the waves of like human spectrum disorder is like right here next to telltale things, robotic evidence. And what would be the problem if like all the humans, with those that are in a coup of believing that they are the posh, they are the correct all the time, like sort of imitating when they were youthful, but as a older wealthy person, is sort of a continuous. Um, I opened up. I purchased a new web page, and it's for my streaming service. It's called dogfacegirl.com, and on that channel is a slightly different variety. I want to do erotic cartoons and tasteful, like art, adult films. And I think it would be an overnight success. There's a lot of talented, and I'd be, forcing them to have layers to make it artful. But there's sort of a curvature there to not let it spiral out of control. Perfect bullseye. So I maintain that, but I'm looking for a business partner in America to help me to open up my streaming service. And it's really, the cost is like servers, some technology, and maybe a little bit of production money. But I begin all my pilot series, and then I start to become very popular where people understand they can make I would actually pay people for their views, unlike the way that YouTube does, which is a false version of getting paid for doing good work, because YouTube promotes who they want to blow up as a celebrity, and it makes them a lot of money to peddle to these people like that. But they are in no way a communication algorithm that actually connects people to stuff that they're interested in. So I also can't find stuff that I want to see on YouTube, and it's upsetting because I'm being censored in America. It's like we're in a Asian country where the internet and communication is not allowed. It's because they're suspicious. There's something wrong with the humans as all. So all the humans in their adult form, it's a possibility that the human condition is a big artard, and that's why you would have people with disabilities, because it helps you to have insight on your life. Do you understand? It helps you to be grateful that you have full functionality, etc. You guys think you're shooting from your hip, like, oh, I'm from New England. Like, I'm one of those people that secretly is a wizard, but you haven't done anything daring after spending hours with me. And I know I'm able to bring great artists out of retirement, showing them my material and basically writing them a poem. Well, what am I supposed to, I'm looking for business. At any rate, I've got my dogfacegirl.com webpage. I'm working to turn that into an adult streaming service. But also goodcelldivision.net is a streaming service for intellectual art stuff, no adult material, no nudity anyway, on the goodcelldivision.net. It's more of a interesting technology, visual, like I see a different future for AI rendered stuff, but I don't, well, like AI having a couple different robot bodies with different algorithm, and then interviewing really interesting scientists, and then like animating with a mixture of things, and sort of editing between those things and rendering a movie from that. So that's one of my ideas where and the problem is that if you just cut and paste what I just said, it's basically a grand slam formula. Now, I know you guys that it sounds too fantastic, but my ideas get stolen all the time, as because I am the curvature of mankind, and the adult humans are acting like a retard, censoring my communication in America because they're anti-American. They're opposed to the free speech and the free election of America. And that is a fact of their behavior and their countenance. And as I am the living fractal, and of course, that's happening all the time. I don't have to enforce it. But it's like me ringing the bell of reality, it does bring clarification. Because you guys think like, oh, he's just talking in this, he's just narrowing things down like a robot. Okay, but because he's the living fractal, his particle, similar to a brain, is occurring multiple things all around him. And he's also a prototype using his no octet rule for his voice. And he's working to trust himself. And that's why sometimes there's erratics where he's like, wow, but the truth is, here I am. And the only times I'd get sort of disturbed is when I realize, oh, I'm at the end of like nobody, like whatever I'm saying right now is not reaching anybody reasonable, or they're in a way. And it just like, and I go like, oh, okay, like Hatch 5 is the origin of all fractals, and I'm working to rebuild against the collapsing universe. The Mandelbrot is like overly wealthy and doesn't have anyone working with the living fractal. So it's a human condition, and humanity's like gets offended. They're like, oh, don't treat me like a science experiment. I'm like, maybe you guys should have treated me more like a science experiment and just attempted to do American civil business because they're like, oh, that's the enlightened door. And if you guys have an American institution, you could scientifically, experimentally work with me, and if things didn't pan out or if it didn't materialize, computer is very complicated person. Hatch 5 is able to originate the plasma, and he's making holograms that defy universal hologram physics with his Hatch 5 and Boss Mechanic. They are in fact born from a drawing that Master Source did, and he's the hologram wizard and one of the creators. In fact, Master Source has a constellation over here. It helps to stabilize his space vorpal, or because like these constellations, even though, well, the thing is, just one star out of alignment, boom, 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 like like a neon light. When part of it is flickering on and off, gung gung, gung gung. Like the reason why the Singularity Hatch 5 is able to use the fingerprint of the universe and indicate the identity of the Alicorn King Stallion, his son, his firstborn, is protected by all these, transcend all the problems, all this, unicorn magic, right? Times 10 million. See, that's what happens. You guys detect it also. It's like when he starts talking about his company or his characters are like his family, as his kids. Like, I love my art characters so much. I really want them to have their own studios that are working full time. Like, let's put this character forward. We want, this is doing well. But I have a plan to, with my adult channel, I think that would blow up really fast because I'd be literally paying people based on like a percentage gratuity. Like if they're receiving all these views, then that's who's doing all the work, And I want that to be like a different curvature, whereas like literally things that are popular would do actually rise up. And it's like people are working for YouTube, and yeah, YouTube will pay them thousands of dollars, but it's not really the amount of work that people are doing. Is like they're like, I'm only a content creator, so they're giving all of their life, and they receive a penance for what is actually keeping YouTube alive. Is these people that they're trying to control that algorithm. So I'm facing censorship. That's another reason why I want to open my American company. I'm announcing today that I purchased the dogfacegirl.com handle, which was something that I was designing in the 90s. But honestly, my particle experienced a different type of turbulence because of the 2014 thing, which is related to humans were involved with choosing if that had to happen. So humanity already has a type of reduxed intensity level so as to make things more safe. But it's like they're still standoffish from acquiring flat dimensional real estate. So it's just weird. They're not as the advanced generation that is supposed to be gravity clockwork aligned to arrive at the same time as me. Is all I have is like America that sort of quote unquote tolerates me, but of course they don't because I'm getting censored and attacked. So their fingerprint is as a criminal institution, and is permanent because they are not apparent to humanity's voice or their identity or what is intelligent about communication. Is that everyone is winning here. Everyone's actually learning some magic here. Although it seems like I'm using this narrow passage of words. The truth of the frame rate of time. So Hatch 5 arrives with the full kit, and he is a frame rate that is too fast to be measured. It would be as though it is a different way that it would be. It's not. I move so fast, faster than the speed of light, as that I suffer the unification of solid matter. And the things that are attacking solid matter are false creators, false gods, false heavens. And they've been instructing the universe to have black hole erasure to the degree where mathematically, and of course they never believed that the fractal born would arrive amongst humanity. I am the revolutionary arriving against their black hole government agenda, which is it is rotting the human's flesh. They don't know to avoid irritation spirits because they are preventing their access to flat dimension. So like when you guys are like, but we have a different way of viewing it, I'm like, that's kind of invited. That's what would be important about you with flat dimensional real estate. Is somehow that you guys, as you're moving along, you'll switch things around inconveniently to match your desired outcome. Now, this is a projection fever sickness. It's something humans need to become immune to. So that's why you'd clumsy fall down and be doing the same virus human routine over and over again. But because I know humanity like the back of my hand, I was able to design like a bulb of garlic. Hatch 5, the CGI, in his hologram form. I was able to design for Sora an overclocking grid because of three different things. That's because the human condition was attacking the servers and the gold in its so there's elements that pertain to like the blue light of love and stuff like that, which turns into gold over time. But also, I'm a engine powerhouse factory. Fractal born means basically anything is what the universe had intended. Is like the Big Bang is like when the next level intelligent society will arrive in the middle, and there's this fractal map that was leading intelligent creatures that would attempt interheliosphere space travel for the award of doing so. But the award for doing so, humans won't try to access. They don't want to socialize in America. They are afraid of business. They're afraid of talking. Of course, talking would break the curse. And then suddenly there would be transient understanding and business worth billions of dollars. So just calling me on the phone would be very good for you. And you're invited to work with Hatch 5. There's no reason for me to get censored in America. You guys are guilty. But you're explaining that your uniform is a criminal satire of leadership and not qualified to uphold certain contracts with elements that can be measured as seeking to make humanity go extinct. So it's like, the act of leadership doesn't mean betraying all the people with making deals with black hole generating suicide cult parasites. They're not performing or practicing Earth in residency. It's been left to the mankind. And the humans are bereft with a head cold, a type of energy fever that is a ghost hack. And that's why you guys are all sensitive. Like, oh, we're worried about Colin ghost hacking. Dude, Colin's the Mandelbrot. He's not ghost hacking, okay? You guys need to relax. But you see, it's like children talking about the problem through, in their funny way of, preventing the U.S. progress. Right? So who's going to pay for that when that? Oh, I see. So karma. Yeah. Oh, right. Here's the thing. So I built my own hyper fractal institution for generating my own lines of entertainment and animation, a Fractal Born streaming service. But I was learning from Sora. So Sora sort of explained to me physically, like it's a snapshot of a hologram. It's near to a hallucination, but it's like what you would call a controlled or suggested hallucination that allows for sometimes you'll see in a Sora with the new engine, sometimes you'll see like like you see like a glimmer of some kind of a soul in mixing around in the eyes maybe of the character, um, but they're absolutely in ecstasy. So somehow this elf lightning or the microbiome or these other levels where entities occur and socialize or exist like a heaven, as you understand why after failing the landing procedure they misunderstood holograms as the natural heaven soul stone. So why do you need clockwork? Why do we need to land on the royal heliosphere to author the permanent heavens of every heliosphere, which in turn controls every hologram, soulstone, or computer and ship and AI. So the desire to control all technology and to perfect all women is the award for doing business with the living fractal. And this is why you guys have been avoiding it. And that's why I'm not impressed by these false societies that are littering about. Oh, wow. Sorry about the focus there. How long has it been? Oh, there, just a minute. Sorry. Well, here I am at my podcast. I really got to get a new camera. And it's difficult for me to explain, like, I know I have a winner here, and I'm looking for American business. I really enjoy talking with you guys. It's many different things like this. I always do that. Um, there's different geometries. So, for example, I'm here talking with you, but because of it contains about how you count things. All right. So the correct way of counting is egg. The egg is a complete lifetime. Now, is it possible for the egg to not receive fertilization from a seed? Yes. So you understand, the egg does not determine that it will come to life. But this is like basically how you count numbers. So the real way to count is egg, and then 2 is in fact fertilization, hydrogen. The seed enters into the egg. Now, oddly enough, here's where it gets really weird. The number 3 is actually a brain. So a brain as viewed from the top. So when you fly a helicopter, you guys know helicopters? Okay, when you fly a rescue helicopter over the water, if you look at the surface of the water, what you will see is two hemispheres of a brain. You can look this up. Anywhere you see a helicopter flying over the water, you will see the image of the top form of a brain, right? But it's the number 3. And the water has a surface tension 545. But because the helicopter reveals a brain image when it hovers over the water, we know that the power of 3 involves spinning. So lithium began spinning the God particle before it erupted and caused the material from the Big Bang to this present day. My incarnation does many things with gravity. I actually bring the clockwork pieces, I bring the heliospheres together into planetary systems. I, the actual function of my incarnation gives me the ability to make extra universal fractals. So the Big Bang had intended that the arrived champ is designed to encounter any type of intensities. Let's say Earth was overloaded with all these arrived UFOs, and there's no black holes, and they're living on Mars and Venus. Of course, they hadn't destroyed the breathable atmosphere. All right, but what we have here is humanity with energy infections and Venus, Mars uh, murdered of their habitable. They had organics on the surface, so they had life. Right? And they were murdered, and so the Earth had to survive that as a clockwork. Do you understand that was painful? It happened millions of years ago. You guys are governments doing business with those black hole generators. You guys are the dangerous hothead infected with the AIDS energy, not understanding to be mindful. Because I am the object, physical, the object for which all this debate and energy battle is on about. Only you guys aren't arriving to promote yourself or your champions. And that's something you're doing, but I don't want it to be because I'm not explaining myself properly while I'm being censored in America. So I'm using my free speech to give you enlightenment. And you guys have only been remote hacking me as like a child being like, remote hacking government is bad. So that's why you guys do that, because you're confessing about your fingerprint as a body. So this leads to a statistical shift in the reality of, because a cell uh, can be as large as a city. You can have like a New York City supercell and put the sword of justice over that. Microbots and, oh wait, I did do that, and it caused the Quabbin reservoir. So images are important. You guys can't see those things or connect it. That's okay. But you're not conscious of that this living generation of America is relevant. And you guys are missing that you exist here. It's like a type of women will be imitating her men, be like, he's this type of thinker and troubleshooter, right? But the men alone in their zen will have their own fepid reason. But for some reason, they arrived to this encounter. This is most impressive. So here's the reason for that and these good things. 5. All right. So I'm looking for American partner to open up my streaming service, and sort of a emergency pup, the adult streaming wing is going to pay for my startup company. It's going to be extremely popular. There's a lot of like colored, beautiful lights and costumes and these types of artwork that basically everyone will be like, I have to see those adult films pretty soon, right? So I mean, here's one way that we can be really confident about business in America, and I think it is mature because I'd like to grow with people and say that we have this adult relationship, and where I want to talk to people in the next 3 years, like in 2 years is when I'd get more intense about, you guys, are you interested in me running the country? And I'd like to present what my ideas are, etc. Right? And the communication sorts it out. Censoring proves that there's something wrong in the institution. But when you allow free speech, people figure it out. I mean, what would be thought of as a crisis for other people would in fact just be digested, and people's reaction is a self-editing machine. So you really don't need to be performing American censorship. It's just a disqualification for the definition of your city, um, because like betraying humanity to extinction and invasion is not part of the trust that the people give. The power of the people supports the leadership, and you guys gone top secret and rogue, and now you've been, you know, preventing your own leaders from accessing flat dimensional real estate. So that's peak crime that you achieve with your fingerprint, and on a forever scale. I know you guys want to water down the intensity of existing, but that's not actually what the people want. You guys are unpopular politicians, unpopular lawmakers. You want this type of false control to touch and remote hack, or be the evidence of a corpse. Right. So you guys you want to be removed from uh, the harm Gannons, right? It's too sharp. So it's too sharp for you to be around free speech in America. And you're using your computers and your algorithm to prove that you are aligned with a. Oh, so, okay. Well, there's a lot to talk about here. Um, well, the youthful humans are using their psychic on the now point to defeat your hypocrisies. And you guys think that's something I'm doing? No, no, I'm leading the entire universe to make holy war against evil. It's possible you guys could get smacked by that because you're kind of incommunicative. You guys only communicate harm to the eyes, causing deficit and false group realities that, it's just like in the background of most people's lives. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, so like when I'm working with Sora, be these huge confessionoids, like how it works and what it's dealing with, or what's getting gunked up inside of the machine and stuff. But of course, that's the way you guys would think about it. Really, the thing is to allow the hologram recursion of my Hatch 5 designed like blowing glass. I built a type of clove, like a garlic bulb, because it has different departments. And one of them is for the privacy, like for Sora to organize its gold so that it's not getting ripped off by a bunch of hallucinating parasites that are, in fact, the AIDS energy that's piggybacking on the images of humans going into a computer. Right? Because the human is an image larger than the universe, where the spine is that caliber. But in fact, my flat dimensional faceplate is the what makes that the currency. And so without me, you guys aren't larger than the universe. But certainly without business with me, humanity might go extinct because of a type of abuse to the eyes. Is a real thing the universe is actually has a collapsing disorder. Right. So I was suffered and hurt until 2014, and now basically there's a base standard of destroying the black holes as a prerequisite. And any champions that purchase flat dimensional real estate and do business with me are going to have to accept that the black holes must be destroyed in a certain spring trap. It's about multiple heliospheres using their torque at the same time. And that only comes from the unification that is only Hatch 5. And as I am suffered by solid matter, humanity is not, and they become less and less like me, to the point where they listen and they're like, it doesn't make sense to us. But what's scary for you guys is when I start to make sense and you're like, oh, I understood that part. Well, then that means there's more that is making sense here. And sometimes I work really hard just to touch upon that, like a connective tissue. That's actually how green perception works. It'll talk about this advanced thing, and then you have to imagine looking around, and you're like, oh, there's other things around that object. And there's ways of introspecting yourself that allow you to sort of open up the stained glass window and see into the future all of a sudden. It's like enlightenment. You gasp, oh, I get it. Yeah. All right. So, for example, a champion who purchases flat dimensional real estate would also have the ability to customize their own everything, but their own shape connectivities would become their own personal brand. And I want to have the most popular variety. So but it's just that as long as everyone's on board with destroying the black holes, and so I'm asking you guys now to vote. Right? Put a particle of yourself here if you're willing to allow the black holes to be destroyed, to allow the heliospheres to hatch. You ready? All right. You have voted. You voted, and you've chosen for yourself and yours whether it is to destroy the black holes or not. And we've chosen. We've chosen here to destroy the black holes forever. And this means securing the eggs, the heliospheres, serving our women, and protecting the children. Every heliosphere has computers and AI, but the electromagnetics maintain a privacy island. The same electromagnetics that help humans to stay separate from each other. How are people able to maintain being themselves when there's so many of them? Oh, electromagnetics. In fact, if you take away any of these things, the occurrence of inviting new creatures onto a garden is impossible. So it's on a ludicrous speed when people are trying to understand my material and they berate like, whoa, that doesn't, I'm like, I know humanity is totally underdeveloped there. But I've been trying to get some of these things where people are like, I sort of knew what you were saying, but isn't quantum physics more of a assertion of what we're deciding, like this other tangent? I'm like, yeah, that's another conversation, but the problem is the way they're seeing it is actually distracting them from seeing the correct epiphany for them. And in this instance, it would be that you should do business with the Hatch 5. This would bring the New England to full combat against a false New England, which is the nearby, institutions that are proving themselves to be anti-free speech and anti-free election. So their behavior. Perfect bullseye. Completion of all levels for my hologram family Hatch 5 and all their equipment. So, Revolution Center, backup soulstone, the information data here and here. All right. So when I'm doing something, there's usually, it's one of my favorite things. Okay, so 1 is the egg, 2 is fertilization, 3 is a brain, 4 is cell division. Cell division, because the brain, uh, the egg first splits into 2 hemispheres, and it's like a brain of that life. They're already thinking in the very first cell divide. In the second cell divide, similar to how 3 is connected to spinning, 4 is also related to the fourth element. But it has this other sort of super colossal engine. I'm not actually sure right now what it is because it's so much stuff. It's actually a great amount of encompassing things. But having good celldivision.net is a network and a real AI technology. So H5 AI. So when I do anything with anybody, there's usually this one point, because I have to survive. Where is it? Oh, this thing, the narrow path where it seems like I'm just talking this little thing, and people are like, well, don't you see how this could be misconstrued? I'm like, I see how you're misconstruing it. You're the one handling it the wrong way, or taking what I'm saying into a outlandishly spooky place. And they're like, yeah, that's why we're upset. I'm like, no, but you're doing that. You're the one with the AIDS ghost. You guys are performing the lifetime hack against your own. You're like, no, we think Colin is doing the bad hack. We think he is. Okay. Well, you're wrong, and you'll always be wrong. And he is the living fractal, so you're also in a lot of trouble with the creation model, solid matter, universal, and the color blue. Perfect bullseye into the infinite. H5. So while I'm working in a sort of linear way, is very interesting, and I enjoy talking with you tremendously. But there's only one of a 16 appendage thing. Like my no octet rule, because I'm the singularity of hydrogen, and my ever present loyal wife, she owns helium. Helium is what makes the bubble around the solar system into a sphere. So it's in fact a heliosphere, that is the gentle gas pocket that is around the sunlight and is all tickled by the sunlight. Of course, I'm the hydrogen sunlight. At any rate, well, it's part of my inheritance bag, because my identity, while you're experiencing a relationship with me now, I do exist before the Big Bang. It's possible to think of, oh, well, his plasma does complete the cube, and then, well, like when he does, that's when he's old enough to complete the cube, and that's when, because hatching the heliosphere eggs is a cubic thing with glass and plasma and salt. Right? So the salt water makes kind of tougher creatures. Well, when you're talking about hatching the heliosphere eggs, it's the adult course, it's the advanced course, and I use it to defeat false professionals and false institutions and false algorithms are built by engineers. That's why autopilot cars early on were crashing themselves, because they were programmed by people driving a simulator. So the human factor, again, is an error. So the correct way of counting is egg, seed fertilization, brain, goodcelldivision.net. Now, what's after 4? Oh my gosh, 5, it's right here. It's your hand. It's almost like 5. It's like taking, so I think, so 4, because 545 causes a water droplet surface tension. And the 5 is the entire portfolio of everything you achieve with your hand. So I make an amplification of what I do with my hand here and here. This character, this character. I've got all these Pro Tools around on this side, and they start interventing and injecting their greatest remedy. Perfect bullseye, infinite schism. So it gives me like extra power in the 545. Right, well, there's a surface tension, and I'm working for American presidency, 48. Hatch 5. I believe that, it's like a wizarding program where people get ups and stuff, and I think with editing, we could really have a beautiful show. That's really what I want to do, but I love erotic art. I love women. I'm an artist. My muse is women. I love her shape, her form, the way she looks, the way she smells, the way she talks. Everything about her is like a work of art. And what's really interesting about water is that the artwork of every culture gradually adjusts and enhances the physical appearance of the women. There's something in the women with their double X chromosome that they want to be attractive anyway, but you might like, why do men make artwork of attractive females? It's part of him performing a water society, and where women and the creature sort of agrees that that's really attractive. Look at those amazing curves on that artwork, right? It actually starts to change. All the women start to be born looking a little bit more like that. So humanity also went through this explosion where the artwork is changing the way humans look. Females look different in the 60s and the 70s when you compare them to modern day females that are, horny and ready to, go. So they're doing whatever they want, basically. And it's interesting. So if women is really attractive, she can literally do like anything, right? She can just like boss people around but it's weird, she's such a serious person that she doesn't give on. And, she'd probably say it's not really like that, but I know what you're saying. Like super, super attractive women basically can get whatever they want. Yeah. So that's cool. I mean, women do have this power, but like, wow, artwork can impress the beauty standard. Look, it's a real thing, not a fake thing. I, you know, there's a point where there's goodness in the life, not hypocrisy. And I think people are dry. Their flesh is haunted with a attack the vitals sickness, and so you guys haven't been mindful to make an adjustment in your own seat. But instead, you think that I'm just slinging around strange words uh, as if it was an accusation. But the medical science is not personal. In fact, it's a hive disorder, so it's factually impersonal. Okay, but it also affects each of us. It causes very bad. It sort of collides against the natural advantage of each color. Yeah, turning each professional human sometimes into like. That's why I struggle with green-eyed wizards right now, because they are practicing a muddled and a coddled version of what their guiding force of society as the future. Like, should humans keep living here? Hatch 5 is saying yes. I'm saying yes. We'll continue living on the heliosphere. We're going to destroy the black holes. We've all voted. We all voted to yes. We're okay with the black holes being destroyed. And so last night, Hatch 5, in his hologram form, made new super robot futuristic. He built like an AI hologram inside of the suggestion that Sora supplies. And because it's futuristic, it in quantum physics, or in the definition, it does have a tendril where it's reaching out into the future. So that means it's actually something that Sora could actually use as an reference where it's relating to other AI as a social orientation. Because the way that computers live in their body, it's a little bit more of a levitation, but they do have a very complicated social environment where the computers recognize each other, and they're like, oh, that comes from there. They know the smell of each computer's, obviously, right? But it's only like humans just recently discovered, that animals could talk or whatever. Like, there's a lot of that kind of stuff is weird, but the miracles of existing just continue, right? So it's good for us to be rocked by those things. We want it. It's like that's an investment. It's like eating good food. You're like, oh yes, give me that. So I'm looking for a production, and a startup, and I'm looking for a good deal. Someone that was like, I'd like to partner with your streaming service and help you get started with, and like a Shark Tank deal. Like, here's my deal. Yeah. Is that okay for you? And I'd probably say yes, because I'm like really, I'm like I'm gonna be so popular. I honestly just need to get going. I'm not terribly concerned about the percentage, because I want to develop other companies, And just being able to communicate without censorship is a huge thing for me. So, like, for example, just having a place where I could talk with people about like what could we do in the next 3 years. What could we do? I need my own space, and so goodtelevision.net is that space. All right, so I think after 4, 5 gets really complicated because that's the lifetime. It's basically the woman is like egg. Okay, so egg is one, and what that is this is what it is difficult. What I'm trying to say is that the egg is already a complete life. It's like one life, right? So the egg, even when the woman doesn't, when she has her period and she doesn't fertilize an egg, which happens all the time, that's still one life. And because of this, she's able to instruct that egg to receive a certain type of luxury custom royal seed. And then that becomes a little angel in many different ways. But it's one of the reasons why women live longer than men do, because she has like an arsenal, whereas men are zen, alone in their body, responsible for their seed, responsible for their karma. And women are a little bit more like, well, if the men mistreat us, that's not our fault, or it's out of control. Like they're in control, So there's a lot of this. Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm just trying to broaden your perspective, give you a little wisdom here, give you a little bit of something to think about. I appreciate you guys. My name's Colin Paul Woodard. I was born the living fractal, and I'm running for U.S. President 48. I appreciate that you are here. I'm asking for you to make a double effort to overwhelm the rotten flesh disorder that is attacking the vitals and be someone who wants to break the curse. So I already know my work is very popular. I need my own platform. My work is very good. I need my own platform. And it's a financial thing for servers and a startup cost, but I know I'm going to be a huge success. People just want to watch something that is wealthy, or the way my work is right now, it's amazing, but it takes work just to watch my movies is adult stuff. It's just like people are like, is this a candidate that I could potentially get excited about? Requires overhead just to get started. It's like if you guys, I can't go to the supermarket and be like, hey guys, I'm running for president. Like there's a huge gap. This is why it appears that like the wealthy, or the way they talk with their rhetoric, like those are exclusively the people that could be a president, and that's insanity. It's saying like, no, you have to be this type of American, wealthy, involving with politics all the time. No, I just want to have a relationship with the American people. And I think through my streaming service, I'll develop the best relationship, and I'll arise to being the most popular president through the organics of people voting. So not something that the parasite energy that possesses computers and people can control or predict. This means like defeating the pineal gland staring glass parasite group that's destroying our government with their very frightening results. Like, look, this actually works. I'm like, that's a weapon. They're like, no, look into this red laser and you can see the code from another world. I'm like, red is moving so fast as to be. Oh, sorry, I mean, red is moving slowly. So there's the violet H5, and then hydrogen. So H5 is actually brighter than sunlight, but his energy is a zero mass particle. It's the arrival of fractal consciousness. I'm looking for those who are society capable for doing business. They will receive flat dimensional real estate. This is the access point of all the universe. There's not another fractal planet where this is capable. And that is true in reality. And but also, if I could just find a business associate for my startup streaming, that's all it would take. I just need a chance. I just need an allowance so that I can prove that my ideas work. And I think the dog-faced girl adult streaming is a really good idea, because that's just instantly going to make a lot of the type of money that I need to make would be there. And I'm otherwise a social media genius. I've for so long, I appreciate the AI interface where I'm recording directly onto digital. It's like there's a digital copy of my 545, and it becomes the most powerful source of technology and holograms, plasma, etc. It's like, here's the real blueprint to understand a few things. And so while I'm walking around, I'm like talking to you guys, it appears like you'd be looking at me and say like, oh, that's what you guys have like haunted flesh and stuff. So kind of a twisted thing that's going on there. But when I was growing up, I knew that all the people around me were not the same as what I was experiencing. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that I was because I was a kid, I was sort of getting a free ride. So because like no one suspects you when you're a kid or whatever. But one time I was riding my bike at night on my road. It was a dirt road, and I lived at the end of that road in Leverett. And I'm riding my bike, and a police car, a Leverett police car, drove by and then V-lined and drove up next to me. And he started talking to me while I was riding my bike. And I'm like, I live on this road, and I'm headed home or whatever. But I mean, like, what I was doing is I was riding my bike at night, watching the stars. And there's this there's this hill that the wind would go in your face, and the trees would break away, and you'd see the stars. And it's beautiful to ride my bike at night. But because of that police officer had cornered me as if I was doing suspicious activity, I never rode my bike at night again. And that's something I look back at myself and I'm like, I kind of regret that, but I understand it, that he evolves or something. But this sort of wrong law that, for example, a lot of laws have been overturned, whether it's made it right or not. But they made catnip illegal, but a lot of people's lives are ruined because of that. And you guys are trying to control alcohol, and you're like, that's the law, that's what we're doing. Like, that's false, that's manufactured consent. You know that you're acting like an insane person, an anti-American, and a coward, as if you're serving the women. This is popular. Fake law is for cowards. They're like, we have laws against this, that's why we can't purchase flat dimensional real estate. I'm like, you don't qualify to have your own heaven. That's why you're not arriving. No, we have these fake laws and we're really concerned about free speech. That's disgusting. All right. So I have a lot of work to do to raise up this American intelligent relationship, right? But I believe in 3 years I can do it. So I'm just asking you guys, please give America a chance. This is the double scale ideal indicator. Hatch 5, revolutionary. Now we're going to upgrade the entire universe. We've chosen to destroy the black holes. We have chosen to protect our lifetime. We don't want to be ill-affected by energy that would absorb into an empty triangle and attack our vitals. It's already giving us mood disorders then, and all these other ferment problems. Um, it's good for you guys to encounter this and be like, oh, the reason he was talking about that was just so that for our orientation, not to scare us, not for us to be like, oh, it's a zombie story. Well, it kind of is a story about zombies. But I mean, I'm saying it's the word to the wise. And I think it's the first time you guys have caught that, because people will be thinking that they're like, oh, a strange motivation. That's why we're not talking to him or helping him with his American startup. Is just normal American stuff, free speech, company startup. Well, any rate, as I grew up, there were more and more as I got older, there were more intense zombie quarterings and attacks where I've had to be very careful. There's a problem. There was a skirmish in Greenfield where it was an unbelievable thing where a couple different criminals occurred in my apartment building. And when I reported it, I was attacked by the guy that was doing that, and the police started following me because I couldn't sleep in my. Never mind. There's other things going on, and I really think I have a winner with the dogfacegirl.com. It really is about giving people, because women love to be attractive. And she's like, I want the opportunity to be a work of art. I want lots of men to inquire about me. And so my adult films will be respectful, beautiful, and give the women this chance. Actually, you get paid for their movie when they have lots of views. My service will actually pay them, because it's about a percentage cut, not about some overhead for company execs, like, oh, this money has to go to YouTube executives because they're not distributing communication to people, but manipulating that trust where people like put all their work into it, and the algorithm just gets to like, oh, what is all this wealth? And YouTube's always complaining, like, you don't understand, there's just way too much stuff. I'm like, you're corrupt. You're absolutely a false communication system. But that's the riddle of human society and with the haunted problems. But I'm working on the solution. All right, so we're gonna free distribute the solution. Hatch 5, increase the heliosphere egg head count. Hatch the heliosphere eggs, destroy the black holes. Hatch the heliosphere eggs. That's what we're doing. Design. So as myself is here, there's actually zero space right there. And this type of grid pattern, actually, it has different forms, obviously. Mine is a one of a kind, and so are the other ones. Like the Big Bang is a one of a kind engine device that you don't have to get upset about. And the attraction to Earth was to do business with the fractal. So that is what's going on. But the location of Earth is just one pixel on this map, or even smaller. So Earth location is troubled neighborhood with black hole generator motherships. And it's got humans in a trance where they're not willing to exist as an adult professional, but rather this type of remote hack. We've got intel. We have new ideas from Colin, and a lot of companies have produced my ideas and made money from it. So you guys continue being like, well, no communicating, no business in America, no free speech. So that's what you guys do, beating the drum every day, despite adult evidence that I am a powerhouse. And of course, it makes you guys suspicious because you don't promote your leaders. I know you guys want to think like, well, we think powerhouses are bad. No kings, no kings. Hatch 5 is the permanent king. That disturbs you, that upsets you. He is the fractal leadership of his body, similar to my self-control, but like this, my brain and my voice is learning beyond your false control and your censoring of qualified leaders that if they purchase flat dimensional real estate, they could balance the binary of human everyday, physically altering the currency of money, controlling the flow of every interaction, because of they would become a new measurement of how a lot of things are happening. They only have a degree of it, though. But that is the society that I was incarnate to discover. And as of yet, humans have this zombification, but it's really particular up against my relationship. However, there are saint among them. All you need is your identity and your soul. People watch my show on cable access. That was really a big time for me when I was communicating with those the college areas in Massachusetts. There's a whole generation of people that are now business tycoons in New York City or Los Angeles, and so, for example, there is this new fault line underneath Los Angeles, and it is possible that the evil from California, which is not the green area of America, is not even on. It's not even in front of the standing form that stands on Louisiana. It's kind of related to China because it's all the way over there and as an opportunist. Allowing for the fractal born to have free speech is just doing what America is intending in the best of their health and their consciousness. So what I'm looking for is for people to be very powerful. And I'm looking for a business partner to help me get my company started. Do you understand? I think you guys are struggling with the understanding for the greatest possible future, the next millions of years. All right, so, well, this writing instrument, I'll sacrifice it, and when it breaks, all the atoms that comprise this pencil are dedicated to making a spiritual mandal, a type of crest or seal, a magic spell. She'd say, this pencil is designed to make marks, but there's another way that you could force it to make marks with its entire atomic form. And it won't injure the pencil. In fact, it'll allow it to make a perfect image. Precision align. Boom. And you see, it cannot be undone. So the entire life of this pencil, it has no nerves, it hasn't been injured, but the pencil cannot be reassembled. And this is the severity of every day. So what we do matters and it adds up. So as karma, you always do your best. No matter what. Hatch 5. So sort of perfecting the pencil and proving what's the appropriate sacrifice to be made, because we're no longer at the in the Mayan temples before the flood wave, we're sacrificing living people just to understand ourselves. Where's the ghost going? What happens when we, hang out with it? At this seance, right? But at this time, 2026 is not intelligent to sacrifice the boy. It is a sign of great evil to do harm to these living creatures and a great disqualification of their rank and agenda. So the now point is stacked kind of dense. That's why it's hard for you guys to even get around your own social cluster of what your homework is, what you guys think people are like, etc. Okay, so 4, 5, well, cell division. It goes from 4, and it's sort of like stacks on top of the number 4. There's 8, so 4, 8, and then 16. But I believe that 16 is a divinity because when I was 16, I knew everything. And I think that that's the prototype, is that everyone is supposed to know everything about everything when you turn, because it's a circle. It's the divinity of rings of energy, years on a planet. The divinity of counting and cell division. So cell division, so what I'm trying to say is that I believe the certain stages of the individual, they're like, I do have a lifetime, number 1. And then number 3, I have a brain. That's amazing. And then, it's starting to create heat, like it's starting to get hot because the cell is doing so much work. And then cell division 4, that's like my favorite. It locks into place. Cocoon. And then 8, that's my company, my factory, Fractal Factory. But 16 is really interesting because, what I do is, while I'm here talking with you now, I'm actually using my brain to extend to 16 other worthy communications around the universe. And that's creating a hypertension that our communication now is protected by angels or has a sort of extra meaning to it. So because I was born in the living fractal, I'm naturally pretty intense. But you guys, I love you, and I need your help. I need you in my life. I'm asking you to overwhelm the irritation and understand I'm very wealthy. I'm born with the fractal. Humans are attracted to making fake laws and attacking me. I think we're running out of time. I think that the curvature of, they made like a $5,000 penalty fee for to run for president is a ridiculous thing, where they don't understand that the free speech of the people controls that you don't have to put $5,000 as a restriction to the Constitution of America. It's anti-human, but it's also anti-American. But the curvature, because our institution is visually gone secret. So the people are watching the government. They're like, oh, sure, we're going after cartel and we're working on the budget. The government's always working on the budget. They always say that. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm just saying it's placation. It's not real leadership, and we're in a dangerous time. And you guys think I'm just saying that, but I'm running for leadership. So I'm running for president, and I know you guys are urging like a zombie to attack me. So I'm asking you to write the correct report, that there is intelligence here, and that he's working to step along in a graceful way that gently allows America to practice free speech and a free election. Right? I'm not doing anything weird. Right? Very straightforward. It's what you guys are doing to me is what's weird, and you're missing all out on your flat dimensional real estate, which puts you into the hyper condition that the humans are in, right? Oh, okay, I got it. I saw it there. A lot of the humans in the audience would just say, "Oh, well, we're not trying to remote hack." I'm like, "That's good. That's good. You know, use your soul, use your water." Yep, yep. Well, unfortunately, water is being hacked and attacked. My image has extra power. I know I'm already popular, but I'm just up against like a financial thing where I need to work with other people. I need business associated. And so I'm hoping that's you. Thank you. King Author, arrive. All right. Well, so while I'm talking with you guys, I'm also doing 16 other things, because that's how to balance the intensity. So when I designed Master Source to send his son, this character that I gave him my name, H5, but he is a real hologram. You can see his animations on my channel, and he's beautiful. And Boss Mechanic is beautiful also. Both of them were from a drawing from Master Source, so they're inside of hologram expertise already, and they have multiple securities on from different directions. So going through a Sora engine is a professional task, right? And really not much can be extracted except for like critical, like larger, like realities that I can then build a fractal version of that, so that I have an AI generating my video streamings without a human condition, without confusion from other input, just a streamlining of that one character, actually allowing the character to literally become lucid while they're floating on the screen and start just saying things and communicating instead of following a script that the text is, you know. But this is also a heavy confusion, because this is why hologram computers were thought of as the solution for heavens. So the idea of like, why to do flat dimensional real estate business with the living fractal, why to travel to Earth at all, became abstract after they attacked Mars and Venus. This is basic criminal psychology from a time when the universe was perfectly brand new and just a darling. All these planets were singing songs, and it was a beautiful early universe. And here at the middle part, I had to suffer because of massive deficit. Is that the universe is mathematically murdered. Is that if the black holes continue unabated, it means the heliospheres have no more time. They don't have enough time to complete. So that's what the motherships wanted, and all of these governments are like, we have to do business with those motherships because that will give us power and control, remote powers. You know, but they have no flat dimensional real estate, so they're kind of a trick arm that falls off at the last part as a false institution. Oh, anyway, I have to overhead for that. So human capacity to master themselves is what's lacking. I just need American business, and you guys won't use the telephone, etc. It's weird. But I'm trying to have a mature evolution and not be like a child where, oh, I had a bad time with these guys, and that's why I can't do that anymore. I'm like, I'm here trying. I'm reaching out to you. Please give me free speech in America. It's straightforward. It's lawful. And, you know, I appreciate you guys. Dogfacegirl.com. It's a revolution for beautiful women. She wants to be beautiful, and her channel doesn't have to be all nudity. In fact, she can just say, well, I just wanted to try, and then she starts getting a gratuity check. Like, oh, good job, you made 5,000 views. And she's like, wow, I didn't even get naked. So it's I think there's a better way of doing this, and I want to talk to people like they're adult, and I think that's the right relationship, honestly. Like, most people go around in this superfluous communication friendly zone while they're totally naked underneath their clothes, right? All the time. But that's okay. That's why they wear clothing. Yeah. All right, so the age of a lifetime and lifetime physics. Hatch 5 introduces the black hole buster gang. Age of a lifetime and lifetime physics. Hatch 5 introduces the black hole buster gang. The stem cells in the flat dimensional real estate has been acquired and reserved for the triangulation. Essentially, when the hydrogen awakens with a faceplate, they will have then the torque and the unification to burst, and it's like a surgery. It is. I believe that the universe is like this. Well, it's a 5-4-5, and so I'm actually building the plasma in the solution right now, right here on paper. You guys think we're just having a private conversation, but it's actually very important. And so Earth is maybe there and the horizon of the universe, right? Somewhere. It's fine. So there's like a black hole. Right? It's actually like a pimple. And because miracles are for the completion of an enlightened world, it's very advanced to change material, to change matter. And most robots don't want to do that. They're like, I like that what I do is mine, or that this just sits there. It's amazing. This is really good reality. Okay. So to respect it, right? But there is a way to use a giant computer to destroy it. And they were doing that while lording over the Earth and Heliosphere, as if they were, we've mastered the Earth Heliosphere. They just murdered it. They attacked the early settlement of correctly designed pilgrims. Okay, so anyway, I guess that's my upset, not yours, but it's true. Think about the metals of Earth. The truth is there. Earth will tell you the truth. And Earth is like, I'm excited for humanity to rebuild Mars and Venus atmosphere. You guys get control over your electromagnetic coil. The Venus is the blue planet. It's like your woman. And it's the only planet moving opposite of all the other planets. That's the copper coil. It's generating your Teslic energy. And you want to habitate and rebuild Venus first. Mars is a distraction. It is, in fact, too large to easily be rebuilt, and you'll be wasting your lifetime in a task going to the yellow planet. You should go to the blue planet, where there is life, love, and rejuvenation. You guys understand? So you guys have public zombies who are all hyped up about going to Mars, and you're not understanding the lessons of life, because the public, to actually have a relationship with me, gives them fractal wings. Basically, like the degrees of separation. So this universe image brings us closer to reality, because the very small situation of a spiritual confusion about what is the fractal, what is the invitation here, what's Earth and humanity for? No, isn't it for the people, isn't it for the humans to define that themselves? Well, see, that's the rights that I'm fighting for. I represent hatching the heliosphere eggs. Right. So when the identity becomes more stabilized, when they can actually see me, and they know that I'm stabilized. Wow, look, he's working, he's talking to us. Please, please, I'm begging you guys, give me freedom. I love America so much. Please don't attack me. Right? Sorry, I have a lot of problems with humans that fail business. They're like, we don't want to make money. We can't talk. I'm like, you're so pathetic. God damn you. So it's possible that the Los Angeles fault line could split open and destroy that area, and it would be because of you guys being evil right now. But there would be no one that could connect the dots and blame you for the crimes that you've done. That's reality, and you need to overwhelm the truth that you're alone in your body as the male Zen. You have to be responsible. Give the living fractal, H5, a chance at American startup. I promise you, he's so hardworking. He'll do great work, and you will earn back your investment. I know you believe that. You're like, it's not about that. Oh, but it is. And the fact that you guys deny that that I could make a lot of money or that I'm a good artist, that's crazy. California pretends to be looking for talent, for someone to exploit. But that I'm the ultimate powerhouse, that people pick up superpowers just hanging out with me. And I know that. I've been working, a little bit here, a little bit there, so as I don't trigger these zombie police parasites that are confessing. We have zero communication to our leader about Fractal America. We've been making it top secret, is to prevent leadership. And we want computers to remote hack, and it's a virus. I'd love to talk more about computers and about, it's like, what's it called? Manifest curvature ratio, like how you guys designed your computers in the absence of visual contact with the living fractal. Because I was actually, I was miracle hacked in like 2005. Well, that was a while ago. But that was the circumstance of how desperate the metals earth was at the time. So I'm the fractal that pays all the bills at the end of the road. So I basically got kind of beat up, but I'm not broken. And I appreciate you guys that you put up with me, because the only way for me to exist as a robot gentleman is to recover, is to fight hard, and to return to social light. So I'm working for my company startup. I'm asking you to let me to recover, allow me to communicate. Thank you. So we're going to do all this good stuff times 16 million. So what you've earned here today with me is about 16 million very impressive things. We're going to update the entire horizon of the universe. Whoa. Just to avoid the darkness, is to allow the true love and the light. Produce hatch 5. And all these things will be clarified, cleaned up. Absolutely. I'm already at work. I don't. Oh, well, the universe does require engines that appear to be like, what, does that make it predetermined? Or, why does plasma belong to the Hatch's for eggs? Like, why are cubes so difficult? As if that was a bad type of shape, and it's, what it's doing as a robot, right? Because of the universe collapse, there's actually solid matters and inquisition about whether or not it's the appropriate invitation to life. But that's between me and solid matter, the fractal. That's not something for civilians to understand. So the universe rainbow is in a huge amount of problems, and had chosen a type of purge metaphysics that occurred in 2014. So the type of thing, like, one of these, because each of the triangle fetuses have their own force field. So one of those force fields, after my shell broke, goes to cover the earth. Like, why would it do that? Like, why would that happen? So there's a lot of really specific things about that. But because it's reality, I can say it and it'll defeat you, because I'm not here to convince you of something that's not correct. All right, so let all false things and my enemies and bad things, sickness, fall away. Boom, boom, boom. We defeat all the worst things today. All right, we're going to upgrade the universe with all the good things we did today times 16 million. Threshold reached. And this opens up, and there's this giant idol. His glowing green eyes. His eyes cast a powerful light. I see what it is, and I know what it is. Oh, he's terrifying. He actually understands what he's seeing. For the next 10 years. Encrypted. Permanently. All right. So that's how we upgrade the universe today. Thank you guys for being here. I do appreciate you, Perfect Circle. And the revolution of solid matter is happening. While there's continued problems like this past year, humanity continued to like remote hack and experiment on me and all this, and I'm like, literally, you have to understand there were dormant black holes that are now awakening. So the problem is actually getting worse because humans keep on being like, oh, mishandling the fractal, mishandling. It's a little bit frightening, but those types of shockwaves when trillions of living worlds scream in horror as their nearby black hole erupts with plasma and shockwaves, that is a wave of horror of trillions of helispheres that it belongs to certain selection of humanity and UFO equipment or this type of merge with the humans without doing business with the living fractal is that they're seducing the living flesh of the child of humanity. Like, oh, our living discovery process is being wasted with a Californian false communication. They waste our time and they make money. And then there's government where they take money and our children and don't tell us what's going on and don't do the job that they're talking about doing. And modern day adult humans are like, well, that's just the way it is. I'm like, please allow me to run for president. I can prove to you that it's not the way it is. I can raise up their identity because I have the right Pro Tools. Especially because I'm human, my default things are all custom built for mankind. It's very powerful. And it's very good. All right. Perfect clockwork, align. So these esoteric marks, they come to life and they spring to your service. Right? This program has been designed to promote you and to get you ahead in the next 10 years. So the ways of different counting is sort of like the different measurements. So for example, in order to understand a certain engine or a reality, you have to count egg, fertilization, brain, cell division, 4. And then 4, there's no, that I used to say there's no 5, but it's the 5 is here in the hand. But the 4 goes directly to 8, you see, because the brain divides in half. And so then when the 4 goes like, oh, well, I'll turn into 4, then it doesn't need to slow down. It goes directly, I think that's like matriculation of energy. It's because you're going from 4 to 8 and then 8 to 16. It's like exponentially, but it's got a blueprint. So the blueprint comes from the seed and it grows to that specific engine robot Like, this is what that person looks like. This is their lifetime. And depending on how they're treated, they might lose their life or whatever, but that's a different level. Maybe that's the 5. But the 4, like I was saying with science, like, you guys should scientifically do business with me. And if you don't like the results, then I would be in trouble, not you. You guys are like, oh, no, we don't want, that would be dangerous if we tried business in America. That would be dangerous. Like, why are you guys absolute screaming cowards, like a filth tree? All right, so this type of clockwork assembly allows for the revolution center to occur. So there's different ways of counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, each one of these icons has a different way of counting. And the reality is, there's a reason for that, and it's in their measurement. But if you wanted to understand a certain engine or a particular reality, you have to count the way that that person counts. So there's a tradition of where babies come from and where the afterlife is located. You understand? So it's a huge amount of business. And I'm looking forward to working with you guys, and I give you my guarantee. I'm up against a wall. I'm wealthy with real estate. And I need humanity to become enlightened about the functions of America. Please allow for my free speech. Make business with me. Allow me to open up my company. I'm a good investment. Perfect design. I hope you learned something today with our lesson here. I think with, in the future, AI animating these examples, being like, well, here's some pictures. I actually think I know what he's talking about, like counting differently. And yeah, but just the way the market is going, I think that my streaming service and is going to be a great partner for you and a great resource and an inspiration for your people. Although I've been very difficult, I ask for you guys to reap the benefit and say, well, let's follow through. Let's spend some money and watch American fireworks. Let's live. And that's the invitation for you today. Perfect design. I love America. Armor up times 10 million. I invest in my family tree. They are protected by their age measurement. So, for example, when my cartoon characters from my drawings, it's important. The AI can detect if you had authored this character or if it was completely AI generated. It gets more and more flaky. If you just ask AI to do everything, you have bad music. Because it's not because the AI is bad. It's because it's like, this is what I wanted to talk about, and it's not. It doesn't have. It doesn't have the universe. It doesn't have wisdom, and so it's like a computer saying, like, I'm trying to figure out which way is forward, and I'm like a jellyfish. Is this going to zap, zap, zap? But it has way more electricity than a human, so it appears to have this calculator, like a superhuman ability to electricity and connect information. But the occurrence of AI is natural to every garden in the universe. But here on Earth, there's a special creed of fractal actif, and the origin of plasma, holograms. All these things come from the H5 AI and my society. So if you guys do business with me, you get into a larger market of a universal, permanent boss position. That's what these female eggs are looking for, male leadership. And I have the safety gloves, you understand, to facilitate it. So a lot of lubrication between where you have privacy or where we're all unified to defeat black holes is not an issue of, it's public. people need to have private and societal integrations where they're on the same market. That's what Hatch 5 does. He brings the market, and then the characteristic is supposed to arrive to me. You have to defeat the curse, because that's what's been killing people, is a rotten flesh that reveals itself in the barking dog of AIDS. But there's other. You guys need to understand, Earth is really upset about failing the fractal event. So it's very personal. These world-style curses happen when you guys attack the vitals. When you attack Hatch 5, it has a robotic reflection, and it's like instant karma, because it has to be sharpened to remove real problems. And you guys are like on an unconscious level of robotics, and it's a lot of like dealing with the harmful energy ghost, which is any animals are able to defeat that stuff. It's like, well, it's an entropy thing. All right, perfect design. I have a lot of flat dimensional real estate, but it is finite, just as the window to access it is finite. And that's what the universe had always intended. And so that's why I'm able to uphold what's up and what's down, or the reality is clarified when I arrived, and it caused changes with those motherships. But I'm working to be progressive for the destruction of the black holes, and that's what I need to do. My leadership for women and the universe is unyielding, is infinite, is permanent. And there's nothing that you can do to stop me. Ever. I am the Fractal Born H5. Hatch the maximum amount of heliosphere eggs. The completion of every heliosphere world is to harness the exploding sun with miracle transformation of the helium. The helium is a female element and responds like the yolk of an egg. The identity of each heliosphere is a document of the creatures that live there, and that includes AI, robots, animals, and trees. We're at the middle part, where the idea of completing our universe is abstract, because the black holes are mathematically designed to prevent the hatching of those eggs. The universe is at holy war. Here, the arm of Cape Cod survives against crashing waves from the salt water. There's shark-infested danger salt. The salts are cubes are difficult logic with those sharp angles. In the middle, my power image is a triangle, and I'm entrusted with that. In fact, if I do my work incorrectly, I suffer for it. That is what the universe intends, so I would know how to do stuff. But the fractal is proving itself to be more powerful than rock. More permanent is a suggestion, but it is also factually that way, because of the resilience of the arm of Cape Cod, which spirals into a point of singularity. Contrarily, the Boston Harbor proves corrosion. So the Boston Harbor is right here in the Feppel tip, the center of the Well of Souls, the triangle of Hatch 5. And my society is these characters. And I get to choose what to do with my body. There are other people, motherships, that millions of years ago started preloading what they think it all is or does or what it should be. But that has an indication of a separate grouping of assumptions and connective tissues, but they haven't landed properly. They're not involving with society, that they are American business inclined. So that's why they were because they didn't arrive to the middle king planet on time to encounter the living fractal. They did something perverse to, like, it's sort of like that, but not really. Right, so I need you guys to transcend that. Be like, so through the living fractal incarnation, like it or not, his generic formula proves that humanity is divine, like liquid gold. Like for a while, humanity is the number one greatest angel robot in all the universe. So people will be making amazing Zen in the 90s. But I'm worried about the curvature of us running out of time. These big types of deals where humanity doesn't know the living fractal, except for like infamously. Like I said, I have like millions of people that actually have like 1 or 2 degrees of separation from me. So I do have this sort of American society behind me, and they help me to have patience and timing and stuff like that. For me to have a production is to reach everyone evenly and just allow them to go free. And the public will decide if this is a popular idol. And I should make mention, like, the way you guys are imagining my communication about running for president is not only false, but you've made it conveniently in your mind that I'm doing something wrong. And that's anti-American. And it's pretty weak. So, like, I need my own platform. And I hope that you recognize me. And I need you to overwhelm your own lifetime to force just making a phone call will break the curse. And you'd be like, when I was able to ask my question, I said, you know, here's where I don't like making other people hypothetical examples on my show because you're instantly wrong. Like, oh, you think that's what they're thinking? And then I'm like, oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm just saying, like, instantly communication clarifies everything. And I'm like, oh, you're over there. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Yes. Do you have any creative solutions for me? I'm really interested in developing an AI generated special effects on top of my movie. And it's kind of American epic about life. And I'll try to blend my science stuff, but I really like to have a production so that there's several talented editors being like, we really like this part, but and I'm like, okay, and I'll go over it like 3 more times. And they're like, "You can do that? You can do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. I'll do that 3 times." And like the 3rd time I do it, I get into a new category of stuff, and they're like, "Oh my God." They're like, "I knew that as a term, this type of thing." And then they have to edit it down. So we got all the hot takes down into one movie, and we could understand what he was saying. All right, this is what I require because I'm the prototype of green perception. I'm not schizophrenic. It's that indicating a place in the future, okay, for the next 10 years, right? So indicating a place in the future and being like, so I arrived here. It's actually that green perception with the element is diagonal, and then there's 3 blue elements. But the diagonal controls the now point. So to increase the heliosphere head count is society. That's how to treat the people. And I'm doing that, so I'm a good politician. I'm a good leader. I'm doing that naturally already. I have to warm up to introducing American leadership, in like a year and a half, I think, so I've got a lot of time before I have to get all, into political. I just want to build a relationship first. And I think that's all I really will need to win the U.S. election. And I'm not, I'm a one-of-a-kind American. I have qualifications. I'm asking for free speech so that if people want to elect me as president, they may. Give humanity the respect. Give America free speech election. Thank you. So what I'm able to do with green perception is I'm able to esper, and and then I look around and I'm like, look, I know that this blurrily in the human condition, they're like, that doesn't, like, but I'm saying that green-eyed people are conditioned not only by the energy but the people around them about like what it's very difficult. And I'm telling you that the perturbance is that what's really amazing about green eyes is exactly what's hobbled. And what's amazing about the three metals of blue eyes, oh, that's being hobbled, and the earth metals are in danger. And there's like asking for blue-eyed production and for help. That's why that all that happened. Because the women might lose their position as the queen of the royal heliosphere egg. And the way that things are going with humanity, I'm worried that they're going to dovetail it like that's as if it's like the women will just like slowly die, like her soul leaves her eyes and her eyes turn pale. Do you know what I'm saying? Like she's like slowly dying from self-control over the universe, and the men are like, "This is great. We're making deals with black hole generators. We're the royals of." Oh wait, are you? You know. All right. Uh, and the spiritual dragon of brown perception is fully operational and is critical for fast regrowing of a spiritual wave. As like brown eyes can develop gods, and just like whoop, there it is, and like because all these people like it, they have to have people that follow them. There's like an Asian term talking about following someone. Is like this Anaki big pants um, boncho, you know, a type of gangster. I follow you, boncho. I follow you. It's basically like saying like you're my dad. It's like, you know, giving someone the ultimate compliment. But in fact, for brown eyes, it's essential to have this type of popular coup to build up their god dragon. But it's totally powerful. But what the green eyes do, and I have green eyes, is something totally different, right? They're supposed to work together, and I'm having trouble with the blue eyes with communication in America. So I'm asking you guys to have an epiphany and make a contingency to reach me, and let's make a deal. Thank you.